Well, I know it's overdue, but I finally got some C5 parts to play with. Let's get into it. Well, what's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Man, it's been hectic on my end. A lot of crazy stuff going on. A lot of C8 content. I apologize to my C5 watchers, but we got some hood vents finally. This has been a long time coming. They've been sitting in my garage for about 3 months, and I have been dying to put them on. So I wasn't gonna do an open box. I opened it, and I was like, no, I'll do an open box to install and review like I normally do. So we will do that momentarily. First, a couple updates to the channel. After we do this, we got another part we're putting on next week on the C5Z. Both the comparison videos with the C8s and the Z51, those turned out to be really good videos, and someone actually reached out today that has a non-C51 convertible with mag ride that I want to do a review on as well. See if the engine noise is mitigated at all with the convertible, because I'm actually pretty curious myself. Today, what we're going to be doing is cutting holes in our hood. You heard me right. This is not just a aesthetic situation. There's 3 parts to this. Yes, one is aesthetic, but it kind of harkens back to the C2 Corvette, which had very similar hood scoops. The second is downforce. Yes, air does get trapped underneath the hood, and this will let air escape and rake over top the windshield. Should help with drag and downforce. And lastly is heat extraction. If you have a C5 Corvette, you know it gets hot, very hot. Especially if you get on it, the tunnel, it cooks your legs pretty much. So hopefully with this, it'll mitigate some of that and it'll look cool. And then we're almost done with the exterior of the C5Z. After this, we will do a rear valance above the exhaust. Long time coming as well. So I'm gonna stop jibber jabbering. We'll do an open box, see what we get. Cause I don't even know. I think it's the vents and templates and I believe rivets. So 2 things I need to get is a rivet gun. I don't have one, and a isolating saw. And I'll show you what I mean when we get there. All right, let's go do a little open box. All right, here we go. One of the outer vents. Another one of the outer vents. And then this guy should be the center vent. Looks like it. All right, so we get no rivets with this guy. This kit I got off of eBay. eBay's always hit and miss, you know what I mean? So we'll see. They are aluminum. So that's the template. Can't mess that guy up, you know what I mean? They feel pretty good though, pretty stout. It needs to be going face down, and I believe this way. The air comes up and escapes that way. My voice is still all messed up, guys. I apologize. I'm getting better though. And this guy is gonna go right in the middle. I actually like that. That's pretty cool. I didn't know how to look graphic on it. And it's etched in too. It's not a sticker. It's pretty cool. Cool. So, a couple things we're gonna need on top of this. It'll be 2 seconds for you, but I'll go source it tomorrow. Is we're gonna need a rivet gun, rivets, a face mask, because cutting fiberglass is messy. Luckily, I just got my wall-mounted shop vac to mitigate dust and everything going everywhere. So yeah, face mask, rivets, rivet gun, and an isolating saw to cut through the hood. Things I've read, things I've watched, it's much better than a cutting wheel. So I will go source one of those tomorrow, like I said. And again, it'll be 2 seconds for you, but that's gonna be next. And then we're gonna go to the car and we're gonna tape these guys down and start cutting. So let's get into that right now. All right, so belay my last. It does come with hardware. It was just inside one of these pieces of styrofoam, hidden very well. It's very light. So we got some instructions, how to use the templates and how to cut. Looks like there's different types of rivets. Not sure why. I will figure that out and explain to you why that is. These washers probably go underneath for spacing. And this is looks like some sort of shim or spacer. We'll figure that out when we get to that part. But yes, hardware does come with it. So you only need a rivet gun and a cutting tool. And a mask, of course. All right, just like that, the next day. So I did pull an audible on the tools we're gonna be using. Instead of that specialty saw I was gonna use, we're just gonna use a jigsaw. When I read, it's actually a lot less dust to deal with. So I went ahead and got a soft metal blade for this. They do make fiberglass ones. I couldn't find it, but this should work just fine. I got some metal blades for my Sawzall, just in case, because some of it when you're cutting this, it's kind of thick and you need more distance, if that makes sense. Some sanding bits just in case the rivets need some sanding down. Some satin paint for underneath the hood. It'll make sense when we get to that part. A respirator. This is fiberglass. You're gonna be itchy. Goggles as well. A drill to drill some holes. A rivet gun, of course, and some blue tape. All my stuff's down there. Now, the only prep I've done off camera is put my tarp right here. You need something because you're gonna get fiberglass everywhere. This will save you a lot of headache later on. And I took off the little cover underneath the hood, which is back over there. A bunch of little pop rivets, plastic ones, just pop right out with a screwdriver. I actually ended up using a thin wire cutter wrench, put it in there and it popped right out. Easy day. So what I'm gonna do is tape up my templates using this guy. I'm gonna do all this as a time lapse. In between each step, I'll explain the process and anything lesson learned. I don't wanna overcomplicate this. It's pretty simple. It's a matter of measuring, putting the templates on, taping them, drilling strategic holes, cutting it, and riveting the vents. So let's not overthink this. I'm gonna throw you up here on my little tripod and we're gonna get to work. All right, real quick, here's where we're at. So 17 inches from the center line, the edge of the template right there, boom, nice and centered. This guy over here, you want 1 inch on this guy from the template, and then from this leading edge right there, 6 1/2 inches, boom, same on both sides. So you see these little perforated, it's hard to see, little lines in there. We're gonna be cutting in there. And these little holes right there, 16 total, we're gonna drill those rather, so the jigsaw can connect to those. Pop this guy out. There's 2 sections in here, just so you know, hard to tell, but there's 2 lines right there. So a total of 4 holes we're gonna make real quick. And then we're gonna pop these guys out, dry fit the vents, start drilling holes for the rivets. And then after that, anything you can see underneath the vent, we're gonna paint black. So let's get to it. All right, I highly recommend using a jigsaw. That took me with drilling, geez, maybe 3 minutes. That was absurdly quick, holy cow. I see people with cutting wheels sitting there for like an hour trying to get everything cut. So yeah, jigsaw with a aluminum bit is the ticket. So get the tape off, get a dry fit, and see what we gotta paint underneath so you don't see this ugliness behind the vents. And we're also gonna clean this up with some sandpaper too. Here's our dry fit. This project so far has taken me all of 12 minutes. It makes me nervous when things go too easily. So well, hopefully it works out. So these things are sitting in there. You have plenty of wiggle room, so don't get caught up on exact measurements. You have like an inch of play either way. So what I'm gonna do now is sand the inside a little bit, back behind, if that makes sense, in there. And then mask it off, give it a quick one over with some satin paint to match the vents. Let that dry for about half an hour, and then we'll start riveting, and we're done. This is going really quickly, so let's get to it. gave it a quick little tape up, and it's kind of ugly. You're not going to see it, so I'm not too worried about it. I did kind of like a combat, if you will, quick and dirty paint job with a piece of cardboard. What you can do, just make sure if you do that, any overspray, just have some Windex handy within a couple minutes. If you have a wax or ceramic, it'll come right off within a few minutes, and like you can see, it came right off. So it was very, very minimal. So we will let this dry for about 20 minutes. We'll put the hood down, and we'll start riveting this guy to the hood, and we're all done. All right, so drilling the holes and fastening with the rivets is a little dynamic, probably the hardest part, but don't worry, guys. So you gotta have a 1/8 inch drill. Chances are I didn't even think about it. I have a buddy at work borrowing my drill bit set. So I have drill bits, but I'm being very creative. I have one size smaller than a 1/8 and then a 1/8 inch step cobalt bit, which I've been using, but it's working, so I'm not freaking out about it. So long story short, you put them on, you drill the holes where you want them. You're gonna take your rivet, you're gonna put it in the set hole, and underneath the washer goes around the bottom, and then you use that to fix it to the car, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna do a dry run on this one without filming it, make sure I don't dick it up, and then I'll do a time lapse on the other two. So yeah. And then there's some spots that the directions are like, hey, we added a few long ones just in case you need them. Because underneath there are some spots that are longer or wider than others. Not many, but there are a couple. I'm gonna go ahead and, like I said, fix these on top. The washer goes on the bottom, rivet it to the car, and we should be all set. So give me a few minutes, I'll show you how it looks. Got one wrapped up. This took about an hour, a lot of lessons learned. A couple of the rivets that when I play ball, as you can see there, I just snip them off, so I have to grind that off later. It is very hard in some of these to get the washer up underneath. A lot of finger gymnastics. I do have this little guy to hold it in place, but even this is kind of too fat. So it's just it's an exercise in patience, but they will work. I've lost quite a few of the washers just down inside this thing right here. As you can see, there's an opening. So I lost about 3 in there. I gotta fish those out somehow. And yeah, and a lot of the rivets I broke, so I probably wouldn't have enough. So I probably need to go to Lowe's to get some more to finish this tomorrow. I'm gonna take a break. It is so late right now, and my voice is still just bothering me. So I'm gonna wrap it up for tonight, and then I'll do a time lapse on both of these and show you exactly what I do. But for you, it'll be about 2 seconds. So I will see you tomorrow. All right, guys. Next morning, yeah, I have a weird schedule. So last night it was like 2 in the morning. That's why I couldn't run to the store, get the stuff I needed. But I ran to Lowe's, got the proper drill bits. I got some more washers just in case. I got a whole bunch of rivets just in case, some even longer ones. So this job's, you might want to grab a few more just in case. The only issue is these aren't black tips, so I got to hand brush paint these guys at the end. But not a big deal if I got to use them. I'm a dum-dum, and last night in bed, I was thinking about this. Now that I did that side, doing this is going to be hard because I have to reach my hand and put the washer on. This side will be easy. So yeah, I'm stupid in that regard. But we will adapt and overcome. We'll do the best we can. This one should be easier. It's much smoother underneath. This on the edges is a lot more dynamic. You'll see when you do this project. So I'm gonna set you up and we'll do a time lapse just to finish these 2 guys. And at the end, any lessons learned, I'll explain to you. All right, middle one, much easier than the edges. Don't know why, much quicker, but lesson learned, do this one first. You can use your hand underneath. It helps to pull the hood up so they kind of hang on the back so you can squeeze them, but not too bad. And also, that little spacer goes right there, just FYI. All right, let me button up this real quick so now you know what's going on. Clean it up real good, get another quick wash, get it all dusted out and stuff. we'll do a final reveal and all my final thoughts and lessons learned. All right, here's the final result. I'm loving it. Honestly, if you have all the tools and have done this before, this is a 3-hour job. There'll be hiccups and you gotta kind of get used to it. I still gotta file down 2 of these where the rivets didn't break off properly and then paint them. And then over here, this guy and this guy, I could not get a washer on it, but I used one of the long ones I got, which has a fatter rear end, if you will. So it should be okay. All the other ones have washers on them. Like I said, just be prepared for finger gymnastics, but it's not too bad. Again, 17 inches from here to center line, boom, 6.5 from here to this corner, 1 inch on both sides. Good to go. Not a terrible job. I know people are gonna freak out. What about water? Water's gonna get in the engine bay, it's gonna kill it. It won't, believe it or not. When you drive your car in the rain, you get water in your engine bay. So I probably will get a cover for this because I'm getting a lift, but I'm waiting on my brother to fly up to help me put it together. It is kind of a 2 or 3 person job. All my good friends live about 4 hours away, and work friends, I'm not gonna, give them a beer for 6 hours of labor, you know what I mean? So, but the lift is coming, don't worry guys. Yeah, this car is so pretty, it's so aggressive now. Love it. I find myself a lot of times looking at this guy a lot more than my C8. They're both fun and they're in their own way. But yeah, the C5Z, just a phenomenal car. Any questions about this, please let me know. Like I said, that's a little spacer right there. And it fits very flush and it's on there very, very good. I'll report back if I notice the tunnel is a lot cooler. If you have one of these, but down by your feet, it gets very hot. So, and then the next video on this guy is gonna be a rear valance. Hopefully in about 2 weeks, that'll be going on. And then once that's done, we're gonna put a pin in this. We're gonna work on the C8 for a while, suspension, exhaust work, some interior stuff, and then come back to this guy. Probably do some more expensive seats just because these are fine, these cheap Amazons. I just want something a little more supports for long distance driving, but they've served me well for 3 years. So yeah, God, this car is so pretty. So cool. All right guys, I will catch you next time. And God, I'm just loving it. I love the way it looks, it's so freaking cool. I'll see you guys next time. Mark out.